It really just feels good when I press record and just get really vulnerable and share the parts of my story that always scared me the most to share. So kind of the first real experience I had of any type of awakening was about 16 years ago now, when I was 17. And it's really tough to tell the story in a detailed way. It's very scattered. But basically it culminated in feeling like I got hit by a bolt of lightning and seeing the white light, like what you hear in like a near-death experience, and feeling that absolute feeling of bliss, and even kind of thinking I was dead, but then also having this overwhelming feeling like karma was good in this life or something. It's hard to put words to it, but nothing happened to me that would have caused me to die and experience that. So that was always strange. My life didn't change too drastically after that. I was young, just kind of running around and stuff. Maybe it changed a little bit. But then a few years later, when I was 21, I heard the words on a video that said, "Everything is consciousness." And I had a similar type experience, except this time was really, really painful and left me in kind of this deep state of psychosis. And then had another similar experience when I was a little older, at like 28, just kind of that really high presence of energy that, again, kind of, it wasn't like super painful like the other one, but it just left me with this drive to create something, to build something, to be a part of a big shift on this planet. And I had felt that drive, most of my life, but after this experience, it really made me feel like I could be a part of that. And then a few years after that, I was kind of introduced to this whole idea of spontaneous Kundalini awakening. And it sounded very similar to that kind of stuff. And what I've kind of come to learn about this whole concept of Kundalini is it's just another word, another framework to try and describe the feeling of being alive, the feeling of our own presence. And it's not surprising that it can be so jarring to the human nervous system when we spend most of our time stuck in fear. And kind of the other thing I noticed, and maybe this is all really scattered, is as we raise our consciousness, as our awareness grows and we feed that awareness muscle, if you will, I at least thought in the beginning, once I was introduced to more of these spiritual concepts, that I was going to be only blissful. And there is a lot of contact with bliss, but the more aware of egoic patterns and stuff like that you become, the more subtle little tiny things that you pick up on. Like at one point, a couple of years ago, I started to notice all of these subconscious mental patterns were almost mapped out on my body. And so I felt like I was in a lot of physical pain for a while because of that. I'd be out in traffic or just anywhere, and any little tiny trigger was like a jolt to my body. And it felt like regression in a lot of ways. But I see it's not. We never regress on this path. We just become more and more aware of the incredible subtleties of the inner workings of the mind. So hopefully this kind of makes sense. Just pressing record and talking. If you liked this, leave me a like, follow my page. If you've experienced anything similar to this, please leave a comment. Let me know. I'd love to have a conversation. And I love you guys. Have a great day.